Hi everyone, I'm Sarah, Childhood Finds. If you've never joined me on this channel here before, I am a full-time reseller and I love doing these research videos to one, grow my knowledge base, but also to share it with all of you that are watching as kind of a thank you for watching and supporting my channel. And this research video, I am just absolutely giddy with excitement about. Some of you might think this is not an exciting topic, but it's really exciting to me. And it's all about flatware. We are talking about stainless flatware in this video. The reason I am not talking about silver and silver plate is because I think those are what people usually think are valuable. And I'm not talking about sterling because, of course, if you find a sterling flatware set, pick it up, guys. If it's cheap, it's gonna sell. It's gonna sell for a lot of money. Silver plate, I also just don't personally enjoy reselling, and I haven't had a ton of luck with it. So I have always been the stainless person. That's always what I'm looking for. And I have a bunch to share with you. I have sets to share with you. I also talk about parting it out in this video. So I show you people parting out pieces and the valuable pieces that you can part out from sets, because I primarily just part out all of my flatware because I don't usually find giant sets of it. And let me give you an idea. I was not exaggerating in this title. I have made thousands from selling flatware, and that has been in the last 6 or so months. 5 to 6 months, I have really focused on flatware, and I have sold nearly $5,000 worth of it. And just in the last 7 days, I've sold almost 300. And that's also, I'm in August. The biggest time to sell flatware is coming towards fourth quarter because that's when people are trying to fill out their sets. So I do think it will ramp up. I completely expect to sell 10,000 in flatware by the end of the year is my hope, if I can keep finding it. That, of course, it matters. A quick side, I have other flatware videos out there to tell you how to identify your pattern, but right here, I have like a 40-second short. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it right in this video so that if you haven't seen it, you can go ahead and check out a really easy way to find out what your flatware pattern is. So here it is. And in this video, I tell you a bunch of the different big brands, their big valuable patterns, but I also am going to show you some that I don't think you will be expecting to have flatware. I think you will be surprised by some of these and also just amazed at what some of these sell for. Just flat out amazed what some of these sell for. At least I am. So what I would love you to do in the comments before we get started is let me know if you've sold flatware. Let me know if you've had big success. If you're a person that likes to sell in sets or part it out, I part it out 95, 98% of the time. I part it out. Let me know that in the comments because it does really support the video when you like, comment, etc. It just gives it that extra boost. It lets YouTube know that you are enjoying the content and pushes it out more. So I would really appreciate that support. Otherwise, guys, let's get started. We have a ton to get through. This doesn't even scratch the surface of any of these brands I'm showing you, but I'm also showing you a bunch of different ones because I want you to keep those names in your head of ones that would be good to look out for. So these are going to be names that you want to think about, especially, everybody knows about the Oneidas and the Reed and Bartons, but I'm going to show you some other ones as well to look for. But this first one we're starting with is actually a 32-piece Ralph Lauren equestrian braid flatware. I didn't know that he had flatware, I didn't know that that company made flatware. And this one here sold for a best offer of $799 for 32 pieces of flatware. And I will say I saw other solds in this where there was 40, 50 pieces and the prices skyrocketed as well, especially the ones that were in new condition. Those were crazy prices. But here, just what you're seeing in this picture, sold for $799. Let me see if we can see the name. So you're gonna see a mark. So it says Ralph Lauren. I will say that I personally do not pick up any flatware that does not have some sort of marking on it. If it just says stainless china, I leave it behind. But you can see here, this says Ralph Lauren. And you can also see that this has some use to it. It's not brand new and sold for the $7.99. Here's an example of this being parted out. Also, I do want to point out this brand or this pattern has multiple different manufacturing countries. So I saw that there are some in Korea, some in Japan. I believe there are some other ones. So keep that in mind as well. Some of the big, most valuable patterns, it may depend on what country manufactured it that you see on the back. I just picked up a set that was made in Japan. And if it was made in Korea, like some of the other ones, it would have been about half the value. So that is important to look at for some of these higher value ones. But this one is the equestrian braid that we just looked at. This is made in Korea, 5-piece place setting. This is 5 pieces of silverware. 5. Stainless. And it sold for $319. Or, yeah, sold for $319. And the crazy thing, they sold 5 of them. All 5 of them. So that is... I also do advocate parting out as well, some of these really high value ones, especially if you don't have a full set, because you're probably going to make more because the market gets smaller and smaller the higher the price your item is. So when you're getting towards the 800,000-900,000, the market is just so much smaller, where some people, they're like, yeah, sure, I can drop 300 on 5 pieces, but I can't drop, 900 on 30 pieces, what have you, whatever their thought process is, but maybe they just want to fill out little pieces of their set, and that is definitely something to consider. That it is easier to sell out pieces, but you still probably will sell your set faster, because your soup spoons and your dinner knives always stick around, and they always are there to stare at you. So this is actually one to look out for, just all of them. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm going to make a fool of myself. It's I don't know if it's Christophe, or I don't want to say the other ways I'm thinking of because I'm really going to sound silly. But there it is. There it is spelled out. Whoops. That is what you need to look for, that name. And this is Acier stainless. It's 36 pieces and it did sell for $600. This one is new, but also... there are so many of this one out there, so many of this brand out there that are worth a bunch of money that you need to look for it. And so this sold for $600. It's just 36 pieces. Yes, it's new, but look how basic the pattern is. And to me, it doesn't look super new. Those definitely look like, that looks like scratching. But it looks pretty new, but there's definitely a little bit of use. So I would say that's what you're looking for, that name. And let me show you the Terapeak, because I wanted to show you how valuable this is. So here we have 170 total sellers of this, and the average sold price of those 170 is $138.78. You can see here that there are the lowest price you see is $6.95 on just a basic dinner knife, but pretty much everything is $10 and above, and that's for single pieces of this. And you can see how this just keeps skyrocketing up. There's a whole bunch of different patterns for this one, and just a little bit about it. It's a luxury French silverware and tableware company, founded in Paris in 1830. And I don't think this is out of the realm of possibility to find. I 100% don't. A lot of people get flatware sets and they don't know they're valuable, or they donate them, get rid of them, what have you. Their mom has them, etc. That they just don't know. But I'll see here, we just have a single soup spoon sold for $27. A single dinner fork in the Laguna pattern sold for $28. So this is one to look out for, just all of them. and here is Cutco. So I did know that Cutco made flatware, but I've never seen it. I want to see it because I want to cross that off my flatware bucket list. But this is this Cutco set here that you see of 22 pieces, and it's the brown handle, sold for $550 on a best offer. That is 22 pieces, guys. 4 salad forks, it looks like, and 6 dinner forks. And then we've got 6 teaspoons, 6 soup spoons. That's crazy to me. That's $550 they got for that. But I would say parting it out is also a very good idea. This is the Cutco Black Brown Salad Fork, and it sold for $40. And they've sold 8 of them. There is free shipping, but it's like $4 or $5 to ship this single fork. And this is just the salad fork. And when you consider that, it might be more to part it out. Just in salad forks, you would have $160 in this set. So it just depends. It depends what the other pieces are worth. And here are the soup spoons. Here's 4 soup spoons that sold for $80. So then, you know, it would depend, but I definitely want to cross this off my bucket list of flatware. Next we have Mikasa. They have quite a few different flatware patterns, and I've sold a few of them. I don't find them quite as much, but this is one of the most valuable ones, and this is Mikasa Sweet Pea Gerald Patrick. A lot of 4 salad forks. These 4 salad forks sold for, move down to where I am, $52.88. That's more than $10 a fork. But you can see the pattern here. Unfortunately, we can't see the name, but Mikasa is marked on the back. I've had Mikasa. Let me show you the Terapeak, or no, we're showing teaspoons next. Here are 2 teaspoons. So the things that tend to be valuable in flatware, I've talked about this tons in my previous videos. The ones you want to look at are teaspoons, salad forks, and your dinner forks. So those are going to be the 3 that likely have the most value. The most likely is teaspoons and dinner forks, and that's because a lot of times the teaspoons are the ones that they huck down the garbage disposal and they get damaged. And just dinner forks, because those are the ones that get lost most frequently. But those are the 3 that tend to be most valuable. Your dinner knives and your soup spoons are going to always be the ones that are a little less valuable and sit for a while. But this is 2 teaspoons, and they sold for $49.98. And here you can see the Mikasa here. And it's the sweet pea pattern as well. Now on Terapeak, the set hasn't really sold lately. So I just wanted to show you in the last 3 years on Terapeak. We have some up here that were new that sold. So this is a 40-piece serving set a 40-piece flatware set that sold for $580. But that one was new, so I don't love to look at the new ones. This one, actually, this one's gold, so that one's different than what we have. And then here's one that's 64 pieces that sold for $400. This is a 40-piece, a service for $8 that sold for $350. So this one would be a toss-up. You might want to look into parting it out. It might be more valuable to part it out, but 40 pieces for $350 is a pretty good price on, and this one was on an auction as well. Our next brand we want to look at are going to be Dansk. Dansk is definitely one that I tend to always pick up if I find it, if it's in decent condition. Another side note, I never sell damaged ones. I guess I might consider it if they are extremely valuable, but most people are buying to fill out a flatware pattern or to replace damaged ones. So I tend to not sell the ones that have garbage disposal damage or excessive scratching. But Dansk is definitely a brand to look out for. I don't find it very often, but most of the time it's good value. And this is a Dansk Odin stainless flatware, 80 pieces, Japan. And you can see all the pieces. This is a pretty nice little layout of everything. It even has some extra, like the butter knives down here. But this one sold on a best offer of $600. And then I wanted to show you here a place setting of this pattern sold for $55. So 5 pieces sold for $55. Next we have one that I think will surprise you because I didn't know they had flatware. There is a Longaberger flatware pattern, guys, and it's stainless woven tradition. So a big set hasn't sold within the last 90 days. So I just wanted to show you these here. So this is a 65 piece set here that sold for $567 on an auction. It got 46 bids. Or we have a 40 piece set that sold for $380 on an auction with a bunch of bids. And now let me show you it up close so you can get a better look at it. And you know, this I'm about to show you is soup spoons. And if I'm showing you soup spoons that are valuable, my computer's gonna keep being a turkey. But if I show you soup spoons that are valuable, that means the whole set's valuable. Because again, soup spoons and dinner knives are the slow movers. So this is what it looks like. This is not impressive, but it's amazing what it sells for. And this 4 Longaberger Woven Tradition Satin Stainless USA Flatware 7-inch soup spoons sold for a best offer of $80. And it is marked, so you can see Longaberger USA on the back. Now we have another brand here to look for, and that is Towel. Sorry, usually this was all set up, but my computer is deciding to be a turkey today. And so Towel is a brand to look for. This is Towel Colonial Plume Stainless Flatware Set Germany. And this sold for a best offer of $350. But I will say that's kind of low for some of the other solds of sets I saw. So in the last 3 years, I saw sets selling for $500 to $700. So I think this could have sold for more if they wanted to wait longer or what have you. I do think this could have sold for a little more. And just a reminder on my research videos, as always, I only show you on eBay solds because just ease of delivery. If I tried to show you every other platform and tried to compare platforms, it would just be a cluster. So I just do eBay, but it is valuable to look at other platforms. Things can sell for more different places. So that's always something to consider. I just don't do that on my research videos so that I can get these out to you in a reasonable amount of time. Because I already spent a long time on this video, longer than I should have. And so this sold for the $350. Now we have another one here, or here it is, the Colonial Plume. That's the one we just looked at. Yep. And this is a set of 4 dinner forks that sold for $142.99. Oh no, they sold for $145.19. The price is different because it was probably a different percentage off sale and because they have a multi-quantity. So they've sold 1 and they have 2 more of these available, but 4 dinner forks sold for $145.19. That's wild to me. But that's why I love flowers so much. I just listed 3 dinner forks in a pattern for $200. I listed 2 salad forks for $93 in a pattern I found. So it's amazing. So this pattern here, I've actually personally sold and have some still listed of. It's Towel Laufer Magnum stainless flatware. This is one of those ones that it does matter where it was made. So there's multiple different places, but the most valuable is the Norway one, and the second most valuable is Japan. And mine was made in Japan, but the Norway is not very common, and it's the most valuable. This one, I believe, was made in Japan. Yeah, it's made in Japan here that it shows on the country region of manufacture. But this sold for $549 for 73 pieces. And let me show you just some of my solds. It's been past 90 days, so I only have the butter knives here to show you. But this is just 2 butter spreaders that sold for $30. And I think I sold 2 dinner forks for $70 roughly. So I don't know, parting out might have been better in this case, but we don't ever know for sure until we did the numbers. Maybe if you're interested in that kind of video, I'll do the numbers on what it would be to part it out versus sell a set of flatware. Maybe especially if I find one, I can do which would be worth more. But this is $30 that these 2 sold for. And yeah, I have others still listed of this. I think I still have some salad forks listed. I think I have the salad forks in lots of 2 for $50, roughly. And soup spoons. No, I sold the soup spoons. They sold for $18. Soup spoons, man. Now here, we're going to be getting into, oh, also, by the way, it didn't show the mark of Japan in this. It just said Laufer. But oh, it does say Japan on it. Never mind. I knew it because of what the other one said, but that one does say Japan. And you will see it on the piece, so you can distinguish. So now we're going to be getting into some Oneida. I pretty much always pick up Oneida if it's in decent condition. Some of them sell for a little bit of money. There's quite a few that sell for a lot of money. I only have a couple I'm sharing with you, but Oneida is one of those that's out there everywhere. So definitely worth looking at. And this one is a 66-piece Oneida Rushmore Flatware Deluxe Stainless Set. This one sold for a best offer of $700, and that's for 66 pieces. So that's over $10 a piece in a lot, guys. That is a great price. So there are absolutely benefits to selling in a lot because you get it out much faster and it's out of your hair. And you have to consider if you part it out, you're paying more in fees, all sorts of things. So it's very... You have to really look at the numbers to see what you want to do. Then here we have an Oneida American Colonial Satin Stainless Flatware. And this one did sell for $595. I haven't been zooming in on some of the patterns, but you can kind of see them. This one, again, not real impressive. It just has a little bump at the bottom. But it sold for $595 for 79 pieces. It's a 12-piece setting. Let me go back and see if you want to zoom in to see this pattern a little better. So there's that pattern. Again, guys, a lot of these really valuable ones are just very unassuming. You would not look at this unless you, of course, watched my video and knew that this was a really valuable one if you found it, because it's not sterling, it's not fancy, it doesn't have a giant design, but that's why I love flatware. Okay, and then this next one we're looking at is now Reed & Barton. Reed & Barton is absolutely one I pick up every time I find it. Again, in decent condition and it's affordable. I love selling Reed & Barton, but it's not one I find as much. Oneida is what I see out there the most. When I do find it, but Reed & Barton's definitely out there, and I pretty much always do well with my Reed & Barton stuff. And this is a Crescendo, and it's 57 pieces, and it sold on a best offer of $405. So we can see here that it's a nice pattern, and it looks like it's probably a good weight. I will say that's one thing I found, that my ones that are really good weight pieces tend to be the more valuable, but not always. But that's definitely, you start to look at quality. I can look in a box of flatware now, and I can tell, what ones might be valuable, and I can tell which ones are the ones you get at the dollar store, ones you get on Amazon, etc. I can tell the ones that are pretty cheap now by just looking at them, and of course by feel. And then here is probably the most valuable Reed & Barton, and that's the Barkley pattern, at least in the last 3 years, the most valuable. And this one you can see here, a place setting for 5, just 20 pieces, sold for $650. And then we have, I don't know if that's a real sold, that's wild to me. Here's another 20 piece that sold for $395. I tend to throw the ones that are outrageous kind of out the window because I don't want to mislead you guys, because this one here is only 9 pieces that sold for $450. I don't want to mislead you and tell you that that's right. I want to look at the ones that have multiple proven sales. This one here is a set of 4 place settings, and it sold for $350. This is a service for 7, and they definitely undersold it at $375, so that's why it does pay to do your research, but they also might have wanted to just get it out faster. Now let's look at a couple up close so you can see the pattern better for Barkley. Here is just in the last 90 days. This is the Barkley pattern, and it's 9 pieces, and it sold for $220. What you see here you can see where it says Reed and Barton on the back. So again, you're always going to find those marks to help you out. But definitely use replacements.com that I showed earlier in the video to help identify your pattern. You can try Google Lens, but I have found that 9 times out of 10, replacement.com will get me there. And then if it doesn't, then it's a lot of searching. And I've had to go down that rabbit hole a couple of times. But this is just 9 pieces sold for $220. That's well over $20 a piece. And here is the 5 Reed & Barton Barkley Oval Bowl Soup Spoons. Soup spoons, guys, remember I said if the soup spoons sell for a lot of money, you know it's a valuable pattern. And this sold for $95 that you see. And now we have Gorham. Gorham is a brand to also look out for. This is a 43-piece set, Gorham Shell Design Studio. And the reason I wanted to show you this one is because it is a pattern that is out there in a lot. It's out there for, you know, I guess you could say knockoffs, I suppose. I don't know if they're knockoffs, but definitely there are copies of this pattern out there that are worth basically nothing. And there are some that are worth a little bit, but this is the most valuable. And it sold for a best offer, let me get to it, of $480. Just, I think this week, this one sold recently. Let me see if I can show you the shell up close. If not, I have one to show you. But the shell pattern is definitely one that has been recreated many times in other ones. But this is a nice large set. Now let's look at it up close. Here is just a salad fork, a single salad fork sold for $30. So you do want to check out when you get, like I get bags of silverware and I like to make lots of them and sets and pairs, etc. But even if I can't make a pair, I will look at what the pattern is because sometimes just a single will sell. So you don't, because a lot, you know, there's a lot of times when you sell singles, it's like $7, $8, free shipping, etc. It's just not quite worth it to sell singles to me personally. But sometimes you can find ones that are, this one little piece is worth $30. And that's just the salad fork. And let's see, just so you can see that shell pattern. You'll see that a lot of times. A lot of restaurant ware has that. And here it says Gorham on the back. Then we have one more Gorham, and this one is very cool. This pattern is cool. So some of the patterns are really neat. This is a 35-piece Gorham stainless fish out of water set, and it's a service for 6 plus serving, and it sold for the $464.96. This one, it comes in sterling and silver plate, I believe, as well. And this doesn't come to market a lot, this stainless one, but when it does, it sells. And it's just a little fish. It's really cute. It's really adorable. And let's look at it up close in pieces. This is 3 teaspoons that sold for $66.99. Free shipping, but shipping's for probably $4 or $5. Depending on the weight, it could be 5 or 6. But there they are, just little fishes. And let's see if we can see the back. You can kind of see the Gorham stainless. But again, these are used pieces, so it doesn't need to be in perfect condition when you sell it. It's okay to have light scratching on your flatware. Then we just have one more thing to look at, and I could probably do a second video. If you're really into it, guys, I can do a second video on this stuff, but hopefully this will just give you different brands to look for, and again, just rev you up to explore a new category and niche if you haven't explored it before. But if you watch my channel, you know I love flatware, so I'm always going to be biased. And maybe some of you are tired of flatware at this point. This is Yamazaki, and this is Cash Gold Accent one, and it's worth quite a bit. It's $400 to $500 for a set that you can see here. Typically it's 40 to 40 plus pieces or so that's ranging, but I wanted to show you it up close. This is a place setting, so 5, that would be, those are weird looking. Huh, those would be something to eat with. But this is the dinner fork, salad fork, soup spoon, teaspoon, dinner knife. And this sold for $95. And they have more available, but I saw other place settings selling for around this as well. One thing I also do want to point out, in a lot of patterns, something that you don't find very often are steak knives. So if you find steak knives in a pattern, you need to check those out, because those weren't, originally sold with a set. They were typically an extra you bought. So check out steak knives. Those can have quite a bit of value as well. So everybody, thank you so much for joining me for this video. It was so fun to do this. I am excited again to get back out there and look at more flatware as always. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys on the next video.